Hey Todd, I'm just recording this. Hopefully it helps. The first video that you sent, yes, you are doing it correct, except one thing. When you're doing the right, you said the bass drum comes after the snare hit, which you're correct because it's on the E of 2 and the E of 4, right? So it comes after every time you hit the snare. On your video, though, when you're hitting that bass drum, sorry, that's my washer or dryer. When you're hitting that bass drum, your right hand hi-hat was also hitting with it, and it should not be hitting with it. The bass drum should be by itself on the E. So, for example, right, you get 1 and 2 E. There's nothing but E on the kick drum. Beats 1 and 3, they hit together, the hi-hat and the kick drum, right? 1 and 2, right? The two is both hands. So beat 1 has bass drum and hi-hat, right? Then there's the and of 1, which is just hi-hat by itself. That's and. And then there's 2, which is both hands, and then the E is the kick drum by itself. 1 and 2 E and, right? So that it's 2 E and, okay, together, by itself, right? Like just that part is important for your body to feel. Right? I'm going to do it again. Right? You're going to have to kind of make yourself do that a couple times so that your body knows what that feels like. Because that's, like I said, the problem is you're not, because this, what's happening up here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, is going consistently no matter what the foot's doing, right? So, but this pattern obviously is just 1 and 2 E, right? And that's, I think, how they kind of break it down on that video, is they start you off forgetting about the left hand, right? It's just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E and 3, 4 E and 1, 2 E and 3, 4 E and. Notice that the hi-hat is only hitting with the bass drum on beats 1 and 3. So I'm going to do this practice video. We're going to do it 30 BPM, right? 1 and 2 E and 3, 4 E and. Again, if you have to, stop even practicing, forget about the click. Make sure your body knows what it feels like to go together, by itself, and then by itself, because that's where the issue's lying. It's right. Just sit there and do that. Like, okay, I got to remember that's what I have to do after I hit my snare and my hands together. That's what it needs to do. Right. Like that's what's happening. Let's do it at 30 BPM, and we're just going to work our way up. Hopefully that helps. You are doing it correct. You just need to make sure you're not hitting the hi-hat with the bass drum on the E.
1 E and 2 E and 3 E and
just the bass drum and hi-hat.
And
1
E and
2
E and 3 E and 4 E and
1
E and
2 E
and
3
E and
4 E. Add the snare. 1
E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and
There's that part I'm talking about. Together.
2 E and 3
Right.
E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E.
And then
4
just live there.
1
Feel it.
and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and.
So use that video to practice to if you have to. I'm going to bump it up a little bit more. Let's go up to, I would recommend groups of 5. Let's just go up 5 BPM. See what we got. 35 BPM.
1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and.
Okay. Let's bump it up more. I'm going to go up to 45. We're going to do a 10 BPM jump.
1 E and 2 E and 3 E and.
And remember, once you hit the snare and your hi-hat together, that feeling is going to be together, by itself, by itself. Right? I'm kind of over animating that when I'm doing it, even when I'm playing. Right? You've got to get the that's how that should go. So anyways, I'm going to kind of keep over animating that. And sometimes if you have to over animate it yourself, that might help you be like, okay, I've got to remember when my snare hits and my hi-hat hits, after that, it's a bass drum by itself and then a hi-hat by itself, right? So, and then the rest of it's just kind of like, right? Let's do 45 BPM.
1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E.
Now at first, when I'm doing it this slow, it is building that internal memory, and it's easier for me to be able to really make sure that I'm going right, because I can slow it way down. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and right. Now we're not thinking that hard when you get it up to a higher tempo, but if you're able to relax at 45.
1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1
And you
E
can
and 2 E and 3
think about it or not think about it, and still do it, that's when, because that's when you're doing it at faster tempos, you can't be sitting there thinking about it. It's just a feeling, right? And a sound. Right, when I'm doing it at a faster tempo, one and two and three and four and one and two and a three and one and a two and a three and a and the three and the it's actually kind of a weird pattern, but again, when I'm doing it at that fast of a tempo, I'm not thinking about words. I'm feeling it. Okay. Let's just do one more. I'm going to bump it up to 55. We'll do 55, then we'll do 65 and call it.
1 E and a, 2 E and a.
Remember, focus on when you hit those hands, it's bass by itself and then hi-hat by itself, right? And then the thing restarts. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3. Here we go, 55.
1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and.
When I'm going through that, like at first, I'm kind of thinking of, especially when you're first learning it and stuff, I'm thinking of the 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and. But what I just started to do for even myself just now, I stopped even listening to the click as far as where the hits are and stuff. Obviously, I know I'm playing to the click because I can hear it going click, 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 click. But I'm more thinking about the feeling of what the beat is creating. Beat. Like that's how it sounds to me. And a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, right? But I'm not in my head. I'm not going to 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. I'm thinking about how it feels and what it sounds like to me. Right. Okay. Let's do 65 and then we'll call it on this. Hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully this helps. Use this as a practice video if you have to. Please watch the whole thing. Hopefully it can answer some questions that you're having. 65 BPM. Let's go.
1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and
Okay, obviously I was just kind of having fun moving it around because I do think it's important for you to be able to move it around, at least the ride cymbal, right? But yeah, so hopefully that answers some questions. Like I said, you are doing it correct. Just make sure, like I said, if you have to practice the just by itself, and it doesn't have to be to a click track. Just get your body to get that feeling down and know, all right, Todd, here I go. When I hit my two hands together, I got to go like this afterwards. Right? It's got to be. So when my two hands hit together, my body needs to go after that. Right? It has to. You got to force yourself to. And the only way to force yourself to do it like that is obviously to force yourself to do it. Think about it. But, let's single out that issue area and say, okay, you know what? Forget the click track. Forget blah, blah, blah. My body needs to go. Okay, stop for a second. Take a breather. Okay, how'd that feel? All right, let's try it again. Okay. All right, what am I having for dinner tonight? Meatloaf? Sweet. Here we go. All right. Oh, I wonder if I took my cat to the vet today. I did, actually. Anyways, how does it go? Okay, cool. I wonder what time my daughter gets off the bus from school today. Oh, I think 4 o'clock. Go again. Right. I used to do that to myself just so I could make my body do it and then think about something else. When I teach some people, sometimes I will literally sit there one-on-one right in front of their face and I'll say, do this. And then I will ask them questions and then I'll just rapid fire at them when I'm ready to, right? They'll go something like this. I'll go, hey, just curious, how long have you had that drum set? When did you pick it up? Oh, I picked it up like 5 years ago. Go again. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm glad you got that drum set then. Why'd you get into music? Like, who's your favorite band? Oh, I really like Slayer and Megadeth. Nice. Do the thing again. Right? I want to make sure that my brain can get diverted and then go back to it. That's something that, I do to students that I teach here in my town. And I'll do it to myself even, Anyways, hopefully I didn't make this too long. Hopefully I made this all make sense. If it doesn't make sense, please let me know. But keep it up, brother. You're gonna get it. And I appreciate your dedication and your not wanting to move on to zone 10. You want to get this down. I appreciate it. I was just gonna do that because I could feel you were getting frustrated, and I felt like maybe doing the 8th note tom fills and 16th note tom fills might help a little bit. But if you want to stick this one out, I'm totally for it. I just didn't want you to get burnt out on it. And that's that. But if you're willing to put in the work, yeah, let's do it, brother. Keep it up. You're doing a great job.